the legend of Thunder Mountain. If you weak of heart, then stay away.
An amazing story, as old as time itself.
Davy Crockett, king of the wild frontier.
Now we are back in Disney World, and to prove it, here's
WDW Radio, your information station.
Hello, my friend, and welcome to the WDW Radio Show, your guide to Walt Disney World and Disney parks and experiences around the world. I am your host, Lou Mangello, and this is show number 810. And together, since 2004, we've been sharing the Disney magic here through the podcast, my weekly live video show every Wednesday night, blog, events, newsletter, and more. You can join the community and find everything at WDWradio.com. And this week, I'm very excited to welcome Thomas Mazloum, the president of Disney Signature Experiences, for a conversation about the future of Disney Cruise Line. We dive into the storytelling and design behind the Disney treasure, destiny, and adventure, and explore the bold vision for Disney's global fleet expansion and reveal how Disney is redefining family cruising around the world. From sneak peeks at new dining, entertainment, and destinations to behind-the-scenes insights on how these ships come to life, Thomas shares stories, inspiration, and details for Disney fans and cruisers alike, and an incredible look at the magic ahead. Stay tuned for our Disney Trivia Question of the Week and your chance to win a Disney Prize package, and to the very end of the show to find out how you can win a very special Disney Treasure Prize package. Please connect with me on social. I am at Lou Mangello on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And if you're looking for a speaker for your event, conference, or business and want to apply lessons from the Disney parks to your organization, or if you're a creator or solopreneur who wants to turn your passion into your profession, head on over to LouMangello.com. Whether it's speaking engagements, workshops, or strategies to take your ideas to the next level, I'll help you transform what you love into what you do. And if you like what you hear, and I hope that you do, please share the show and tell a friend. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode of the WDW Radio Show. Right now, and I think really for the foreseeable future, we're at an incredibly exciting time for Disney Cruise Line with the maiden voyage of the Disney Treasure just around the corner. I'll actually be on board for a special preview cruise in just a couple of weeks. But Disney isn't just launching a single new ship. They're embarking on an unprecedented era of growth with multiple new ships and global expansions, really reshaping the way we experience Disney magic on the sea. And to help us explore this exciting future, I had the privilege of sitting down with Thomas Mazloum, the president of Disney Signature Experiences. And as somebody who's been with Disney Cruise Line since its earliest days, and now oversees not only the cruise line, but other iconic Disney destinations and experiences, I think Thomas is uniquely positioned to give us a behind-the-scenes look at what's ahead. From the storytelling magic of the Disney Treasure to the bold vision behind ships like the Disney Destiny and Adventure, it's a conversation that is packed with insight, inspiration, and a peek at what's next for Disney fans around the world. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome you to be part of a conversation I had with Thomas Mazloum, president of Disney Signature Experiences.
Hi, Thomas, how are you? How are you? It's great to see you. How have you been?
I've been great. Thank you. Thank you. You must be doing amazing. It is an exciting time for you, I'm sure.
Listen, it's a great time. Thank you for saying that, Lou. Honest, as you know, we just came back from New York where we had the christening of the Disney Treasure, and it was just a wonderful event. And it really, I have to tell you, it was not only a wonderful event because we are so proud of the ship. She shows so beautifully. Well, like all of our ships do, but it's just some of the stories in there, Lou, are pretty exciting news stories. And so we had a great event, and I was really, I think before I left, Lou, we had I think we had travel and media in the audience to get a sneak peek view of the show, the Moana show, the new one. And the first theatrical a stage adaptation of Moana in the world, and it's on a cruise ship. Imagine that's on our ship, of course, and we're proud of it. And it's a great show. But I said something to the audience, and I said, which was really true, Lou. When I was brought up, my mom always said, always appreciate, never expect. And that's exactly how I felt that day when I departed New York, that I just had to appreciate because, so many things when you do a christening, a big event can go right or wrong. And it went so well. It was such a thought. And of course, I'm very grateful for the current environment we're finding ourselves in. One of our businesses here at Signature Experiences, which is cruise. And I now have the pleasure of talking to you.
Well, and thank you for that. And I'm excited to see the treasure. I was fortunate to see her when she pulled in to Port Canaveral at sunrise for the very first time. And she is spectacular. But I'm happy that you brought up a little bit about you, because as Disney is all about storytelling, I want to start with you a little bit because, your personal origin story at Disney started with DCL as a hotel director, and then you came to Epcot and then the resort and transportation side of Walt Disney World. And just a few years ago, you were appointed president of Signature Experiences, which doesn't just oversee Disney Cruise Line, but Disney Vacation Club, Adventures by Disney, National Geographic Expeditions, Golden Oak, Aulana. You are the busiest man in show business and story living. So can you just talk briefly about how your role aligns with this current and really unprecedented expansion of the DCL fleet?
And listen, Lou, I'm that serious when I tell you. In fact, all my colleagues and everyone will tell you that when I say I'm one of the luckiest guys in the segment, the Disney Experience segment, I am. Because I think I have I just have a cool job, and I'm very, very grateful to do that. I really do. Now, listen, two things. As you know, Signature Experience is really an accumulation of different businesses. Many of the businesses focus on our ventures that are not necessarily traditionally in what we call inside the theme park, right? But they are either in support of the theme park, like our vacation clubs, right? Or they are supporting other ventures that we created over time, some very recently, like Story Living, and some 25 years ago, like the cruise line, to give our audiences more opportunities to experience different vacation experiences, right? And so right now, of course, Lou, it's a pretty, actually, it's always an exciting time when you work for Disney. I say that because, people have asked me, well, why do you say that? And are you, and I say, look, I tell you the truth, because when you think about this, Lou, we are, even in the context of this current massive expansion of Disney, right? I often say to people, look, we happen to have some ships, and yes, we're investing in a lot more ships, but the reality is we're a media company, right? We're not a traditional cruise company, but we bring the stories to life on a platform that's called cruise, And the reason why I say this, and this is important to remember, and what motivates me is it's really, and I think you know this because I know you write a lot about us, is the ever expanding and powerful library of Disney stories, which are really initially created in our studios and then live in our parks and on our cruise ships and our resorts. And that, if you think about this, if you think back, 15 years ago, the amount of stories that we told and what we have today and the new stories, talk about Moana, very contemporary right now, given that the movie is opening up, I think tomorrow actually, right? So this ever expanding, I call it the powerful library of Disney stories, and what the cruise now in particular allows us to do, and which is why it allows us to ensure that we can continue to tell the stories, right? And if you think of it this way, Lou, on the cruise side, what I also say is, and I, so sometimes people look at me and I say, hey, many, many years ago, you had to make a decision. Oh, do I go to the park on the cruise? Do I can't? But if you think about this, what's beautiful about our cruise experience, Louis, is that you really have three vacations. You get the Disney vacation. What is the Disney vacation? You're going somewhere to experience our stories and the emotional connection you have with our stories. You have the building convenience of a cruise, right? There is a certain element of comfort and convenience, right? Things are close by, you have more intimate experiences and so forth. And then you add on top of that destinations, right? You visit other destinations, including private islands. So I always say you really get 3 vacations in one on that one, which is why I believe the combination of, number one, I'm glad you saw the treasure, but I think you will, I hope you will agree with me, that the way our Imagineers bring the stories to life on our ships is pretty remarkable, and whether that's the Haunted Lecture Parlor, whether that's the Periscope, whether it's Plaza del Coco. I mean, it's pretty remarkable how the stories come to life, right? And you put those 3 together, and you realize why our guests, and thank God, Lou, we are grateful to have great guests all over the world that love us. But I tell you that the cruise experience is the highest rated experience within the entire Disney ecosystem. And I always go back to when people say, I said, well, listen, it's really 3 things in one, right? You experience the stories, you get the Disney vacation, you get the comfort of a cruise, and you get great destinations, including private islands. And that's why it is so popular, why the satisfaction is high, and is one of the many reasons why we decided to, this is the perfect time to expand this business.
Yeah, and look, you are a storytelling company. I think at the heart of the treasure is story. And what I love is that for this ship, unlike ones in the past, you're really leaning and looking to the parks. And I think more importantly, a sense of nostalgia with many of the spaces and stories and experiences. Talk about how that sort of not only reflects the heritage, but and sort of builds on the legacy of Cruise Line, but really, I think, appeals to Disney fans, and especially Disney Parks fans.
No, listen, it's a great question, Lou. I'll tell you something, and we've said that previously, and I think we've taken a step even in the constant evolution of what else can we do to delight our guests, right? I think the cruise line, and I say that with a lot of pride and respect, because as you know, I love working at Walt Disney World as well, and I love the place still very much, like all of our places. But the cruise line, I often say, brings together what I consider some of the very, very best of what the entire experiences segment has to offer, right? And it starts with storytelling, with innovation. Then you add on, the type of entertainment. I mean, our shows on board our ships, they really are just like our theatrical shows on Broadway. The World Just Dining, and it really all comes together. And on Disney Treasure, like on our previous ships, we kept everything that was really beloved by our fans, whether it's the rotational dining, immersed in the latest IPs, but we took a step further this time about something I really loved, and I got to hand it to our Imagineers to come up with that. And of course, we loved it when we first heard about it, is to actually lean into some of our most iconic attractions, right? I mean, if you think about this, there's a bit of nostalgia because I don't know if you had a chance to see the Funnel Suite. It was all about the inspiration of Epcot. The Haunted Mansion Parlor, big one. I think it's going to be very, very popular because you talk about that. Jungle Cruise, the Periscope. I mean, I could go on about this, but it's really, hey, here's all these stories. How do we tell these stories in the right way? And then, by the way, over the years, we had a lot of popular, iconic things that guests who came to see us, whether it's in California, whether it's in Florida, or frankly, for that matter, even internationally. What are some of the things that are really beloved, and why don't we pay tribute to that? And I think putting it all into on one platform, right, in this particular case, cruise, and then telling those stories, because honestly, this is why I always say it's the best of what the experience has to offer, like storytelling and innovation. And I think Treasure has really followed that path beautifully, and I hope you would agree with me, Lou.
Absolutely. And not far by, not to sort of look ahead, but not far behind the Treasure is the Destiny in 2025, once again leaning into fan favorites in terms of storytelling and heroes and villains and things that I think really resonate with not just current Disney fans, but I think sort of fans across different generations.
Yeah, very much so, very much. It's actually 2 things we have next year as part of the expansion. We actually have the Destiny, which will be positioned out of Fort Lauderdale, and it's actually our first ship, also the Adventure, which will go to Singapore. And all of that is going to happen with, not that much time apart from each other. So we're really launching two ships on two complete opposite ends of the world, serving very different, not demographics, different countries. Let's say this, right? Destiny here in the US, Adventure War for the Southeast Asian market. But again, different ships. But what they have in common is phenomenal storytelling. I can tell you, Heroes and Villains, obviously, of Destiny is going to be just a great one. And then on the Adventure, we really took a step to actually, since we're introducing it in our brand new market as well, we really wanted to make sure we look at it through the lens of, hey, how can we bring Disney to where the people live in that part of the world, right? Where it's not easy to have access to the next available theme parks. So we have a lot of beautiful twists on that one, but all of it is really combined in, number one, it starts with great storytelling, great IP, and then, of course, you get to experience on all of those ships, whether it's Disney, Marvel, Excel, Star Wars, what have you. And so, but it is really all about making sure, how do we bring the stories to life, and how do we bring the stories to life that really emotionally connect with our audience. And that is a big differentiator, we believe, in that space.
And I think the adventure is unique and intriguing for a variety of reasons, right? One, it's just the first time that's going to be serving the Singapore market. It's new for Disney Cruise Line in a number of respects, right? The first time taking a ship that was already under construction and creating your own unique spaces and stories and attractions. And I think serving a market that has never had a Disney Cruise Line ship before, but right now the Asian market is just, it's experiencing this incredible resurgence. They've tripled their volume over the past couple of years. And I think, too, this ship is going to really serve as an ambassador for the Disney brand. So talk about that and bringing these experiences to a whole new audience.
Yeah. Well, honestly, it's interesting. I don't know if someone gave you my, I don't know if someone gave you my gold. I don't know if I think I can share that with you. As recently as last week, I had an interview with someone who I talked to them, and I said to them, hey, listen, the one thing I will tell you is that Disney Cruise Line has always been and continues to be a great, great ambassador for the Disney brand. It's a great ambassador for the Disney brand. I've seen wherever we show up, it already starts with the profile of our ship, the design that is so iconic, that still looks like a ship, that is very emotional, it already just looking at our ship emotionally connects with our stories. And Disney Cruise Line has always been a great ambassador, and what happens is the growing fleet now, right? Think of it this way. The growing fleet truly allows us to bring that what I call that cruise experience, or I would actually call it the Disney vacation experience, that differentiator with our stories, to more audiences domestically, because we feel we are part of being penetrated appropriately domestically, but also internationally. And that means internationally because, thank God, we are really grateful that we have fans all over the world, and that love our stories, that love our movies. But they don't always have an easy way to get to the next theme park. It isn't just close by, right? And so on the adventure side, it gives us an opportunity to bring Disney closer to where people live. Whereas on the Destiny side, the one that's going to be out of Fort Lauderdale, it allows us to give more options that we previously didn't have when we were as small as a cruise line. Because, honestly, when you think about this, previously, before we launched the ships, we're about, I think it's 5% of the Caribbean market and maybe 2.5% of the global market. So there is plenty left for us, both domestically and internationally, and with the ever-growing, frankly speaking, powerful library of Disney stories. I think we have a lot of stories left to tell.
Yeah, and I think, again, that the adventure is intriguing for a couple reasons. One, I'm sure you may or may not be surprised at the domestic interest in heading. We all have our passports ready and over to Singapore. But I think introducing to that market this idea of family-friendly and story-focused cruising to this market and really this part of the world.
Very, very, very much. Very much. It's a lot of great countries there, emerging economies, but at the same time, a lot of Disney fans. A lot of Disney fans that love our stories there. So it's the perfect time. And just like I said, it's the perfect time to expand Disney Cruise Line right now for many reasons. this is a perfect opportunity. And as you know, this will be the first. We'll have a second one coming in a few years with a business partner in Tokyo. So we'll be expanding in Asia. But at the same time, we're not neglecting our domestic market because, as I mentioned to you, there's a lot left for us to do in the domestic market, really, because the domestic market also gives us the opportunity to offer more destinations, more opportunities for our fans to experience the storytelling of Disney. And like I said, a cruise line is our cruise line has the highest rated experience rating. So it's really all coming together beautifully.
And it's just the beginning. I think at D23 this year, the most surprising and possibly exciting announcement was that the fleet is expanding in 2031, which is not all that far away, to 13 ships. And being able to sort of really expand again, not just internationally, but really domestically as well. Are there specific air regions or markets that you're focusing on, or is this going to be expanding the ability to visit or revisit familiar ports or possibly new ports down the road?
Well, I think it's a combination of both, Lou. I think one is obviously we've announced the expansion into Asia via two distinctive ships. Additionally, it allows us to do both things, right? Explore new destinations, give our guests more options, and it also allows us to ensure we have appropriate amount of capacity in markets that we may already operate in, but we see more demand, you know? So it really gives us flexibility also, and all of that, and I mentioned it, look, 26 years ago, I was more to say 25, but 26 years ago when fine. Honestly speaking, there was no family marketing cruising, cruise was considered more for mature audiences and so forth. And despite our relatively speaking, smaller fleet, we did establish ourselves, even in the last 20 years, as the predominant, as the leader in family cruising, right? Well, what this expansion now allows us to do is truthfully strengthen our position as the undisputed leader of family cruising, giving more opportunities for families, any families, including the Disney fans, to come and have more options. And that's very exciting for us because I do think it'll further cement our position in that space.
Well, and I think to your point about over the past 26 years, it's not just been expansion, but I think evolution and advancement while still, what I love is that as new ships and new technologies and new stories come out, you continue to innovate while still preserving those core elements that guests love.
It's very important for us, Lou. There's two things that are very important to us. One is you always got to stay close to your consumer, right? You got to understand, how does your consumer change? What has changed? What is it that they don't want you to change equally as much, right? So that's why, for example, one of the most beloved features is our rotational dining, where we rotate you every night to a different experience, but your service staff stays with you, right? So your service stays with you. So we very much knew this, and we said, hey, be careful. We gotta maintain some of the things that people still continue to love, right? At the same time, continue to update the experiences. One of the things we've done a lot, Lou, quite frankly, is the investment we've made in the existing fleet. Because what we didn't want to be is in a situation where you have new ships coming out with all the bells and whistles and your existing ships, So we've made immense investment in the existing fleets. We've updated IPs. In fact, we just had another major refurbishment project just very recently on the Disney Dreams, because we really want to make sure, and this is a big focus of mine, is this, when people book a Disney cruise, I never want them to think about, is this the latest ship? Is it the new one? Is it the one that's older? I want them just to feel, because that I do believe is the strength of the brand. Oh, it's Disney, so I go, right? And to do that, however, you need to really have a commitment, and that's why we've invested immensely in our existing fleet, to be frank with you. They look really beautiful.
I literally just came off we just did a group cruise on the Disney Magic for a Halloween on the High Seas cruise. There's a very special place in my heart for the classic ships, the Magic and the Water. You would never know, Thomas, that ship is 25 years old.
Yeah, thank you, Lou. That makes me very proud because honestly, I think it's fair. How do I explain this? Here's how I can say it to you. When we talk about these ships, and we don't just talk about it, we obsess over it. We literally obsess over it, because that's how much attention we pay to this. Because we don't want to take our eyes off that thing. Because that's exactly what we want to hear. We want people to go all and say, "Oh, I was on this ship and it was fantastic. It was great. It was cheap, good service, good entertainment." And we don't want them to think twice whether this was the latest ship or not, right? It's got to be consistent. It's got to be what the brand stands for. And that, I think, is also so important to continue to reward our guests with the trust they place in us.
Well, you must be reading my mind now, because you said what I think is the operative word. We go on Disney Cruise Lines because of the stories. In my case, this is a body built by Cabanas, but you mentioned the word service. You mentioned service, and I think that is the differentiator from any other cruise line. Yes, you've got the stories, and you've got the ships, and you've got the entertainment, and you've got all these things that make it unique. But I think it is that consistent and exceptional attention to detail and service, and I think exceeding expectations, that really sets Disney apart.
It does, Lou, and I tell you why it makes me why I'm grateful for your comments here. And I used this a couple of times before, and I said, it sounds idealistic, but it's actually true. And I always go back to Walt. You may remember one of the things that he said, and we use it as a mantra here at Cruise Line. Well, actually, honestly speaking, we use it all the time in the company. I shouldn't say we use it at Cruise, because we really use it in the company all the time to remind ourselves. Or we always say, hey, Walt used to say, you can design and build the most beautiful place, but it takes people to make the dream come true. And yes, some people may argue, this is very, but that's exactly the truth. It's exactly the truth. Of course, you need to have big stories. Of course, you need to have a great design. Of course, it needs to be clean, right? Because if you don't have that, it's the ticket that can change. But then it takes the people to make this thing come true. And on the cruise line, just like in so many of our businesses, we really focus immensely on we call them crew members on our cruise line rather than cast members in the parks, but on our crew member experience. Simply knows when we talk about experience, right? We don't just talk about what's important to us. What does the consumer want? How have they changed? We do the same thing for our crew, because getting the right crew and getting them with that smile and that attitude, and then providing that, it's crucial. It's crucial. But it all plays together because, like I said, you need storytelling, you need innovations, great entertainment, great food options, and all of that has to be complemented by fantastic crew members who love being there.
Because those are the stories, Thomas, that we tell when we get off the ship. It's not just about what we experience on board. The stories we're telling is, my server remembered my name. They did this thing for my daughter. My stateroom attendant did this thing, which was an unexpected surprise. Those are the stories that not only make us come back, but make us sort of be, evangelists for the brand.
Yeah, Lou, what I will say is people book a cruise for one reason, but they remember it for sometimes different reasons, And I can't tell you, when I talk about memories, you talk about memories, right? Nothing is more beautiful than when I look at the feedback we have from our consumers about our crew. It's really, honestly speaking, true love, and we tell them that, we share that with them, we thank them for this. We do everything we can to provide them a great environment, because you are correct, though. It is such a secret part of a secret part. It is really part of our strategy, make no mistake. And even though I tell you what, nothing, when I was recently on one of our ships, actually it was on the Treasure, and the captain himself came to me and he said, Thomas, I am so happy with the new crew that joined us, because part of expanding means you hire new crew members, right? We're very thoughtful about this, because we take a very deliberate approach. Okay, how many crew do we take from the existing ships? How many do we know? How do we make sure we're very consistent throughout? So it's a puzzle that our human resource partners work with, and we're very thoughtful about that. But nothing made me happier than when the captain came and said, "My God, this is our crew that has joined us. They're really wonderful." And you're right. It's what people also remember. It's that personal interaction, that service, and we're very, very proud of them. No question.
Thomas, I have so many more questions I would love to ask, and I'm so grateful for the generosity of your time. But as you sort of help lead this phase of the expansion and the future of Disney Cruise Line, what is the thing that has you most excited about the future, and what is the one sort of message that you would want to share with Disney enthusiasts who are sort of waiting for their next or their first Disney Cruise Line adventure?
Yeah. So, actually, two things. One is, I'll tell you what I'm most excited about is Josh often used that. I think he sometimes uses this expression, right? He calls it boundless, right? I think he calls it boundless. I'm with him so in that camp because I truly believe the Disney Cruise Line. If we continue to focus, as I shared with you, on what makes it a great experiences, I do believe the sky is the limit. We really have boundless opportunities, both domestically and around the globe. So honestly, it gets me really excited about the opportunities for Disney Cruise Line. 1. 2, I say to everyone, I said, look, the reason it's one of the highest rated experiences is also it's a perfect experience for not just families. I would actually go a step further, Luke. We often say our ships have been designed for families. I would go a step further. I would say they've been designed for multi-generational people to travel together where everybody has a great time, right? No one needs to compromise. And that's what makes a Disney cruise so special. So whether you want to come by yourself as an adult and you want to stay in the adult-only areas, whether you want to come on a big family reunion, you know how it works on the ship where many people go, they do their own thing during the day, they come together to bed. I think it's the perfect vacation experience for multi-generational family. And it gives you an opportunity where everybody enjoys it. And at the same time, you get your emotional or you connect with your favorite stories. You have a really comfortable cruise and you'll be surrounded with great destinations and crew. I think it's a really great vacation option for all fans.
Absolutely. It's an exciting time. I'm looking forward to sailing on the Treasure in just a few weeks. I hope to see you there on board, and I really appreciate, on behalf of all Disney fans, everything that you do.
Hey, thank you, Lou. Thank you for what you do. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time as well, and I wish you a happy Thanksgiving.
You as well, Thomas.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
It's time for this week's Trivia Challenge, where I'll test your Disney knowledge with a bit of trivia, history, or ask you to identify where you may have heard a sound, song, or quote. Enter and answer correctly, and you could win a Disney prize package. And this week's trivia segment is brought to you by you, because by becoming part of the WDW Radio Nation family, you help bring every episode, live show, and event to life. And for as little as $1 per month, not only do you help support the show, but you unlock exclusive rewards like scavenger hunts, group calls, access to our private community, and fun surprise packages. Plus, your support helps fuel our Dream Team project, which has raised more than $550,000 to send children with life-threatening illnesses to Walt Disney World through Make-A-Wish. Plus, I am so incredibly grateful for your love, support, friendship, and help, and I love being able to give back to you and say thank you to you each and every month. I want to thank some new and longtime members of the Nation family, including Angie Robinson, Angelo and Lori Oliveri, Terry Gaff, Andy P., Stephen Schwartzrock, and Ida Williamson. And if you want to find out how you can join the Nation and learn more, you can visit wdwradio.com/support. Now, before we get to this week's trivia question, let's go back, review last week's, and select our winner. So Mickey's and my daughter's birthday is on November 18th, so I wanted to celebrate with a little Mickey Mouse trivia because Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is the first attraction to feature Mickey Mouse in the Disney parks, although he's always really had a home there, literally and figuratively. In fact, he had this wonderful little cottage that you could visit and tour in Magic Kingdom in both Walt Disney World and in Disneyland. Your question was to tell me what was the name of Mickey's Toontown Fair home. Thanks to so many of you who entered, got this one correct, and knew that it was in fact called Mickey's Country House. Now, this area of the park was originally part of the 1988 Mickey's Birthday Land, which evolved into Mickey's Starland in 1990, and then Mickey's Toontown Fair in 1996, before it closed in February 2011 to make way for the expansion of Fantasyland and Storybook Circus. Now, Mickey's Country House was a walk-through attraction that gave you a glimpse into the personal life of Mickey Mouse. It was decorated as though Mickey had just stepped out, and it was designed in this very cartoonish, exaggerated squash and stretch style. There was a living room, a kitchen, garden, workshop, his mailbox, a lot of interactive and fun details, hidden gags and surprises. And then after exploring his house, you could meet Mickey in the judge's tent, which was connected to the exit of the house. And although his country house is no longer in Magic Kingdom in Walt Disney World, you can visit his home in Toontown and Disneyland, as well as Tokyo Disneyland. But I took all the correct entries, and this week there were a lot of them, and thanks some of you for sharing some of your memories and photos of Mickey's country house. And last week you were playing for a WDW Radio keychain, stickers, pin, a brand new vinyl sticker, and a mystery item. And last week's winner, randomly selected, is CJ Reyes. So CJ, congratulations. I'll get your prize package out to you right away. And if you played last week and didn't win, that's okay, because here's your next chance to enter in this week's Disney Trivia Challenge. So it is Thanksgiving this week in the United States, but I think no matter where you are, we should all be thankful every day. But I digress. And Thanksgiving here isn't just about turkey and stuffing and cranberry and football and stretchy pants and long naps. It's also about parades around the country. And I think one of the most famous ones is the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in New York City. It began in 1924 as the Christmas Parade. It was renamed the Thanksgiving Parade about 3 years later. And Disney floats have really been part of the parade as far back as I think a lot of us can remember, as they will be again this year, with Minnie getting her own float, Bluey is getting a float, and there's a brand new Disney Cruise Line float. But Mickey was, of course, the very first Disney float ever in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. What year did the Mickey Mouse balloon debut in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade? What year did we first see Mickey flying over the streets of New York? You have until Sunday, December 1st. How is it December already? I have no idea. At 11:59 p.m. Eastern, to go to WDWRadio.com, click on this week's podcast. And this week, in addition to playing for the WDW Radio keychain, stickers, pin, vinyl sticker, I'm also going to throw in honor of Thomas Mazloum joining me from Disney Cruise Line, a Disney Cruise Line mystery item. So good luck and have fun. Huge thanks again to Thomas Mazloum, the president of Disney Signature Experiences, for joining me this week. I'd love to know from you, what upcoming Disney Cruise Line ship are you most excited for and why? Let me know by being part of the community and conversation over in the WDW Radio Clubhouse at www.radio.com/clubhouse, or call the voicemail. I'll play it on the air at 407-900-9391. That's 407-900-WDW1. Please connect and chat with me on social. I am at Lou Mongello on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. And don't forget to join me this and every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern for WDW Radio Live on Facebook as well as on YouTube. It's a live, interactive chat, sometimes from the home studio, sometimes out and about in the parks. In a couple of weeks, I'll be on the Disney Treasure, sharing live video from there. This week, we have a lot to talk about with Muppets, new resorts, and some other Disney news, things I want to share, and of course, your questions and comments as well. And of course, as much as I love connecting with you online, nothing beats a handshake and a hug, so please check out the events page over at WDWRadio.com or at Facebook.com/WDWRadio for upcoming meets of the month. Disney cruises, including our cruise on the Disney Treasure, coming up in February, a cruise on the Destiny coming up in 2026. And we still have just a couple of spots left for our Adventures by Disney to Japan this May, our Adventures by Disney to Disneyland in Southern California this summer, and our Adventures by Disney River Cruise on the Seine, with, of course, a visit to Disneyland Paris. That is taking place in September. You can get a free, no obligation quote by going to the events page and, of course, visiting our friends over at mousefantravel.com. No matter where you want to go, whether it's with us or on your own, they have been and will be my trusted and recommended for partner for more than 17 years. They handle all the planning so you can focus on making the memories and the meals. They offer free vacation planning services, so visit mousefantravel.com for a fee-free, no-obligation quote today. Also, don't forget that the best way to keep updated and not miss a thing is with my free weekly email newsletter. There's no algorithms, nothing to check. It is delivered to your inbox every week. Just go to www.radio.com/subscribe. And when you do, I will immediately send you a free digital download of my 102 Things to Do at Walt Disney World at Least Once book. And as always, my friend, and you are my friend, whether we have met yet or not, if you like the show, please spread the word, share the show, and tell a friend. And always remember to be kind. choose the good. Have a great day, even better tomorrow. Happy Thanksgiving, no matter what or where you are from and how you celebrate. I love and appreciate you. So until next time, see ya.
Hi there, this is Don Pulling. I'm calling about your missed attractions episode. You mentioned again the Notre Dame show. I called once about that, and thanks for mentioning that again. But I'm calling about the show, the attraction I missed the most, which was Tarzan Rocks. I must have seen that 20 times back when I was going to the parks every year. I would see it 2 or 3 times every time I would visit. And it was so awesome with the rollerbladers flying around the ramps and the big jump in the center stage. And Tarzan and Jane were so athletic and romantic and beautiful together. And the dancers were also so well choreographed, and they all seemed to be just having such a fun time every single show. They just enjoyed every show, and the band, it really jammed. And they jammed those great songs all the way through the show, all the way to the end of the audience walkout. They were jamming, but I would always stay. The audience would walk out, I would stay while they were still playing. And I didn't care for the big purple orangutan guy very much. I know it was just for the little kids, but I missed that show so much, and it made me think about it. And now we have the Nemo show there, yay! But anyway, I love you, Liz. Bye.
Hi, everybody. It's Elizabeth from Massachusetts. It's been a little while. Just listened to the latest Tower of Terror episode, and you guys did an amazing job getting really detailed with it. I feel like everything you said is what I would also agree with. One thing that I do, I guess, want to add mention is that, the overall spookiness of that ride, I love the simplicity of it and the, 3D immersiveness of it. You don't really, you guys had mentioned this, but when you're walking up, you don't realize that the theming starts from the complete end of the street. And then I love that when you're, throughout the park, you're walking around, you're from another angle, it still has this, foreboding normalness in a way that, the only thing I can also explain it to is sort of like the movie Jaws, where it's, something so simple. You know, the music is so, very to the point, but it's so spooky because of that. So I think that that's also just why I love it. It's something that seems normal, looks normal, it's a hotel, right? But then there's just something about it as you're entering in the queue. It's not super interactive, but there's just so much going on that it kind of has that effect. It leaves your brain kind of wondering. Anyway, I hope all my teachers out there are having an amazing start to the school year. Same to all you kiddos out there. Make it a great year. Be awesome. Do magical things, and I'll talk to you real soon. Oh, and the other thing is, I love running around it. I run Disney events. That was what I needed to add. It just popped in my head. So excited for Food and Wine coming up. But yeah, running past and or near Tower of Terror at night, or morning rather, is always so much fun. Anyway, stay fast, be magical. Talk to y'all later.